Hi, how's it going? Hey, Grievers and Groovers. It's Wednesday, January 10th. We're in the new year, 10 whole days. Hurrah, 2018. Hopefully the connection is going to be better than last week. Sorry about that. There is literally nothing I can do except go somewhere else where there's some kind of Wi-Fi connection. But I was on the phone for hours and hours with technical help, double checking that my internet was good, and apparently it is. So we're just going to keep trudging through. So I hope you guys can see me and hear me okay. Wanted to get a few things out of the way before we have a chat. Los Angeles, where I am coming to you live from right now, we're going to have a Good to Go party in Los Angeles, or a workshop. It's kind of the same thing, only it's just not at someone's house. Like, technically, I think the difference between a workshop and a party would be a workshop is at like a business or some other space other than a residential home, and then a party is at somebody's house. But don't get me wrong, there's gonna be booze no matter what. So January 20th, Saturday, January 20th, from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. It's just 2 hours. It's going to be a condensed Good to Go shindig. And it's going to be at an amazing yoga studio in Silver Lake. So I don't know if you guys who've heard about LA know where Silver Lake is. It's a groovy neighborhood, and it's at a lovely yoga studio. A yoga studio, and it's called Still Yoga. It's on Glendale Boulevard. So if you're in Los Angeles on Saturday, January 20th, come on along and get good to go. Now, I know it's the same day as the Women's March, but I'm going to march in the morning and good to go in the evening, and I recommend that you do the same. So if you're in Los Angeles, details are on the Good to Go Facebook page that you're on now, and or you can email me, amygoodtogo@gmail.com if you have any questions, and I would love to see you. So march in the morning and then come on by for a death positive evening of reflection and action. A friend of mine described Good to Go as death cafes but with homework. And that's the action part, is you actually get paperwork to fill out. So that was my first thing. And then the second thing is Austin, Texas. If you or anyone you know lives in Austin, Good to Go is going to be there January 23rd to January 29th. And I am booking parties as we speak, except for on, I think it's the 26th. That's a Friday night. I can't remember, but I'm going to go see Robin Hitchcock playing, because I can't go somewhere without seeing a concert. So I'm going to go see Robin Hitchcock. I've been a fan of his since I was 18, which means only like 10 years. Anyway, any hoozles, how you guys doing? Today is January 10th. And it's the second anniversary of David Bowie's death. I can't even believe it's been 2 years. 2016 is when he died, and now it's 2018. It's crazy. But I was really heartened because I follow his son on Twitter, Duncan Jones, and he actually, you know what? I'll read it to you. It was so sweet. Do I have it? Do I bring it up? Hi, Kat. You can't hear me. Oh, no. Can you hear me now? Oh, my goodness. You mean I've been chattering away and nobody can hear me? Eek. Let me know if you can hear me now. We might have to go off and then come back on. But Duncan Jones, David Bowie's son, actually, it was David Bowie's birthday a couple days ago, and we celebrated. I did a couple posts on Instagram So boom, Instagram at Good to Go Peace, if you want to see the little David Bowie post that I made. But I was really happy to read Duncan's tweet on the day of his dad's birthday. So I'm going to read it to you. And he wrote, "I'm actually pretty cheery today, exclamation point. Dad lived 10 lives in the years that he had, exclamation point. There are many lessons he taught me, but today's most important one is this. Don't beat yourself up, ever. Learn, pick yourself up, and go do something new and brave." Come on. So I thought that was a beautiful, beautiful message. Oh, I have another friend. Oh, yay, Kat, you can hear me. Good. So it was just a lovely message. And I felt that was a, very hopeful, happy message. And just to kind of, I always look at things through grief, death goggles. And I just thought, well, I'm glad that his son, after 2 years, is feeling cheery on his dad's birthday instead of feeling bummed and down. And that's it. You just gotta kind of pick yourself up and keep going, and I love that Duncan shared that. And what amazing advice from David Bowie, don't ever beat yourself up ever, and you just learn from what you've been going through and you pick yourself up and you keep going. David Bowie wants me to keep going, you guys. So I'm going to. And that's for you too. But it's just one of those things where that it does actually make you a little more cheery, and getting out of yourself and thinking, oh, well, my mom and dad would want me to be happy to celebrate their birthdays and things like that. So that made me happy. But I was getting ready to talk about, God, there's so many things about grief that I wanted to talk about and get your opinion and feedback on. But then I was literally getting ready to run errands today, and one of my mom and dad's best friends called me out of the blue, my friend Lisa. And I've known Lisa since I was born. She went to high school with my mom and dad, and she's a hairdresser, and she's cut my hair since I was a baby. So she's known me my whole life, and she went to high school with my parents and loved them. And even though my parents separated when I was 5, she was still really close with my mom, and then still really close with my dad. So that was really nice. And what's so crazy is that I was thinking of her today all morning and all afternoon. And I thought, you know what, I should call Lisa. I haven't talked to her in a while. And she ended up calling me, which blew my mind. I was on the phone call to my friend, and suddenly I was just like, wait a minute, my parents' really close friend is calling, and she never calls, so I'm gonna take this. And my friend Lisa said, I was in church today, I was saying the rosary, and then suddenly I was just thinking of your mom, and I just thought, where are you? And that made me laugh. Because, don't you always think that too about your loved ones? Like, even though I'm new agey and I believe that, the soul never dies and they're just kind of around the corner, just in the next dimension, on the other side of the thin veil, it does kind of blow my mind sometimes. I just think, where are you guys? What are you doing? What are you up to? Why aren't you here? No. So that made me laugh. And then she said she started thinking about my dad. And then she was just like, where are you? So she was having this existential crisis at church today. And then she decided to call. Hi, Candace. Kat says, my mom wouldn't want me sad on her birthday and Christmas, so we try to celebrate like she would want us to. I know, it's easier said than done, obviously, because we're selfish human beings. We want our dead loved ones with us. But yeah, that's the thing. You've got to, and I always say when someone loses somebody, the love that you had for them and the love that they had for you, that is going to get you through this. And that definitely feels elevating and uplifting to imagine, your loved ones not wanting you to suffer, not wanting you to be sad. Although, and I'm going to call this person out, my friend Lisa, who called me today, I asked her, she's 74, I think. And I said, well, how are you doing? When are you going to retire? And she's like, I'm so busy. I'm just exhausted. And she made a joke, like, I just feel like I'm going to drop dead. And I was like, get your good to go stuff filled out. And she goes, you know what, Amy, you gave me that stuff. And every time I talk to you, I always think I've got to fill it out. I've got to fill it out. And she never does. And I said, and she's like, I know, I'm a horrible person for not filling it out. And I went, yeah, you are. I love you, but yes, you're a horrible person. I said, what if you die? Your family will be in complete chaos and trauma. And she said, good, I don't care. And I was like, you are a horrible person. Don't do that to your family. So hopefully she got off the phone with a newfound kick in the booty to fill out her good to go paperwork. But yeah, I was just like, come on, Lisa, let's do it. But anyway, my point being, when Lisa called me, we just, of course, started talking about my parents, and then that was getting me emotional, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is coming out of the blue. I'm getting a little weepy right now. And then I just didn't even feel like running the errands that I needed to run, so I'll get those departure files out tomorrow from the post office. But yeah, it was just, it was intense, but in a great way. And isn't it great when other people miss your loved ones, and that they think of your loved ones too? Because gosh, when you're going through it, you just feel like you're in your own griefy world, or as I call it, the grief cocoon. Oh no, the picture's acting weird. Can you guys see me okay? Or is it breaking up? Candace, Cat. But yeah, it's just so important to know that other people loved the people that you loved and think of them. And, every once in a while I'll get an email from one of my mom's coworkers, and one of my mom's friends, Tina, sent me an email a couple years ago and said something like, I was getting ready for a job interview and I just was trying to think of what your mom would tell me. I would always call her and she would always be so positive and encouraging. And I felt her with me during the job interview and I got the job, so little things like that just makes me so happy. I know, Kat says, I know when my mom's friends reach out and know that they miss them also. I know, it's just so validating, and, again, it just makes you feel less alone, and make them miss them or her. Everybody. It's so nice to know that other people are thinking of your loved ones once they go. And it's just comforting. It's just like, oh wait, I'm not alone in this. And also it's kind of like, oh no, they existed, because they don't exist anymore, but you learn that they exist in other people's memories. And that's so nice. I was hanging out with a friend of mine the other day and went out to lunch. And so she swung by to pick me up. Oh no, did it freeze? Oh wait, okay, we're okay. Yeah, so my friend, hi Cindy. Oh good, thanks for the feedback, Cindy. Cindy's like, you're okay. So my friend came to pick me up and she handed me her phone and she's like, I had to show you this post of a friend of mine that posted and I thought of you immediately. And everybody always thinks of me when there's a death-related thing that's going around the internet, and I love it. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I love it originally, but then when I get 25 of them, I'm just like, yeah, I saw it. But anyway, I love that people think of me when it comes to deathy stuff. And so I was reading this post of a friend, and it basically was all about her mom dying, and she was in hospice, and the daughter was talking about her mom passing away and how she was feeling in the days directly after her death. And the thing that really got me choked up as I was reading, I mean, it was a beautifully written piece. And she said something about, I looked down at my left foot and realized it's your left foot. It's just like such quirky family things, that only we can know about ourselves and our family, you know, that we have of theirs, those traits. And then it got me choked up, and I was just like, oh my God, this is really beautiful. My friend was like, I am so sorry. I did not want to make you upset. I didn't want to make you cry. I didn't want to, you know, and I'm just like, well, you're handing me this beautifully, you know, teary recollection of a woman whose mom died. I mean, I'm probably going to get emotional. But at the same time, you know, she was just like, I'm sorry that I upset you. And I said, you didn't upset me. It's always there. Like, I was tight with my parents. And so that grief is just like right here. And all you need to say is, you know, anything. And then I'll be like, oh, okay. So, I mean, it's always there. I mean, do your friends feel weird around you? Like they can't mention anything to do with death or your dead relatives? I actually like talking about my peeps, you know, my spiritual support team that they are now. It's comforting to talk about them or just, you know, acknowledging them. And I mean, I talk to them every day. I was joking with Lisa. I was just like, I talk to my parents every day like a crazy person. Well, I mean, I live alone, so I talk to myself anyway like a crazy person. But I think the fact that they're dead makes it even crazier. Now, granted, I don't sit around and be like, you know what, I'm going to spend some QT with the dead rellies. No, I don't sit around and do that. And I don't even, you know, sit and meditate and think about them. But, you know, just goofy things like my kitchen is filled with stuff that my dad had and stuff that my mom had. So if I make popcorn, I always make it in Dad's popcorn pot. You know, if I am, you know, making cookies or baking pies over the holidays, I use my mom's rolling pin and my mom's pie recipes and things like that. And so I'll talk to them like that. Hi, Chanel. Chanel says she talks to her granny every day. Good. Makes me feel a little less wackadoodle-doo. But I think they hear it. You know, I really do. I mean, on New Year's Eve, when I toasted, I was by myself, by choice, and, you know, poured a little champagne and just cheered to my own bad self and then, you know, toasted to my parents. I'm like, wherever the hell you guys are, you know, hope you're having a good New Year. So, yeah, it makes me feel less crazy. Kat says, yes, my parents were my closest friends. I tear up every time I mention my mom. Songs will get me every time. Oh, I mean, music, shut up. Just forget about it. I mean, forget Christmas music. Now we're just into any music that reminds me of my parents. Hi, Anne. Yeah, I mean, what kind of, I would love to know what kind of music reminds you guys of your loved ones. Whenever I hear an Elton John classic song from the 70s, I always think of my mom. Always, always, always. And I even went to a medium a few years back, or well, right after my mom died, and she said, she comes to you through Elton John songs. And I was like, what are you talking about? That's crazy. How do you know that? Hi, Amanda. Amanda says, my dad passed away 6 months ago, and a lot of people avoid any topic so far about my dad because it's so early for me. Today I had a conversation with a coworker about my dad, and it made me feel happy for that moment. It was nice to have the opportunity to express some memories of him. Yeah, I mean, Amanda, I would love to hear some of your favorite memories about your dad. You know, all of you guys, you know, if you want to share any memories of your loved ones that make you happy and not sad. I mean, obviously after you feel happy, you're going to feel a little sad because they're not here to share it with. But I mean, better out than in. And I love that. And I love hearing, you know, about other people's loved ones. And I always, you know, try to make it a point if I know someone that's lost someone to, you know, be like, oh, what would your grandma do on Christmas? Or, you know, what was your favorite food that your grandma made? You know, if someone says, oh, my so-and-so, my dad passed away, my mom passed away. And I always say, I'm sorry for your loss. And then ask them about them. Like, what's your favorite thing about them? And, you know, what were some of the things that they taught you that stuck with you? You know, I think it's important to acknowledge that. And I think that was kind of the litmus test for me when I experienced so much death was the litmus test. You can kind of know, it's almost like the secret handshake. If you say to someone that you had experienced a death and they acknowledge and they say, oh, I'm so sorry for your loss. And then you just continue the conversation. You know that they've experienced a loss. Whereas other people who haven't really experienced death, they don't know what to say and they just kind of want to skim on through it. Cindy says, my husband was church choir leader and barbershop quartet singer. Christmas masses are sure to make me cry. Oh, I know. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where a barbershop quartet singer, that's so interesting. So I bet if you ever see any kind of barbershop quartet thing on TV, or if you hear harmonies, you're thinking of your dad, I bet. But Christmas masses are sure to make me cry. Well, yeah, any kind of Christmas tradition that, you know, involved your family is going to make you emotional. Chanel says, miss everything about her, but more so she missed my babies being born. I know. But Chanel, I kind of think that she's with you. I think she was hanging out with your babies before they were born, you know? And I think she was just like, hey, go take care of Chanel. I don't know. That's what I think anyway. I mean, it sounds kind of crazy, but, and then also her mothering and parenting of you is going to be carried on through you. And it's going to, you know, so even though she's not physically here, her love is coming through you and your love. And so it's automatically going to go to your kids. You know, that's what I think anyway. I could be wrong, but that's what I think. Cindy says, absolutely. Yes. But yeah, I mean, I think I said this on one of my first lives, but on my dad's 70th birthday, while he was alive, I sent him 70 memories that I had of him that I will always remember and always have. And some of them were poignant and some of them were goofy and silly. And some of them were, you know, really beautiful and kind of acknowledging, you know, the sacrifice that he made. I mean, all of our parents sacrifice, you know, for us, even if you're not close with your parents. I mean, gosh, the decision to be a parent is a sacrifice. You are giving up your freedom and your just everything. I mean, I'm friends with my friends who have kids, and I don't know how they do it. They sacrifice sleep. They sacrifice brain space, you know, and that's one thing too. It's like, I know for a fact that when my mom went to bed, she was thinking of me, and the moment she woke up, she was thinking of me. And I love that. And I miss that too. Kat says, Johnny Cash, Elvis, old country songs from the 70s. Don't you love old country songs from the 70s? Was your dad's favorite. And your mom loved George Strait. He was so handsome, George Strait. He still is for an older guy. I know, I love 70s country music. And it always reminds me of kind of AM radio, driving around in Ohio too. I love that. Chanel says, definitely they were all early. My last baby was 12 weeks early. Wow, she's nearly 4 years old now. Oh, no, I made you cry. Oh, no. But it's a happy cry. Good. I truly believe that she's there with your babies. Yeah, for sure, Chanel. I know. I mean, I went in for, it wasn't an interview, but I was pitching a show idea to a production company shortly after my mom died. This was before Good to Go. So I was trying to get work and get an income. And I decided to call up the head of a company who gave me my first job when I got to LA. And I was pitching him the idea, and he loved it. And then I was telling him the inspiration behind the idea, and, you know, and it all had to do with like my mom dying. And then I'm on this like spiritual quest, blah, blah, blah. And afterwards, you know, he basically was like, that's a great idea, but you go do it. We're not going to pay you to go do it. So basically it's not happening. But then as we were wrapping up, and I was being so professional and keeping it together, as we were wrapping up, he said, well, you know, of course, that your mother lives on through you. I was like, oh, I just like instantly went into the ugly cry. I'm about to cry right now, just remembering it. And I was just like, oh, why are you doing this to me? I had it together. I felt all professional. And now I'm just a weepy mess in your office. And he was English, so I'm sure it was awkward and uncomfortable for him because I actually had feelings. So I had to like run out of there and wrap it up. But yeah, I mean, it always gets you emotional. Eek. But that's especially the fact, Chanel, that your babies were early. I mean, I think your mom had something to do with that. I love that. I'm gonna wrap up, and thank you guys for tuning in and for sharing your stories. I love your stories. Oh, Chanel says she misses everything about her mom, but more so she missed my, yeah. Oh, I already read that. But it's true. I mean, we miss, you know, if you're lucky enough to have good parents, you know, you miss them all the time. You miss them every day. And if you know, even on the Golden Globes, you know, for the Coco, the movie won, I can't remember what it was. I posted it on Instagram, the acceptance speech, because it was so beautiful. And he gave a shout out to their loved ones, you know, who are no longer with us, but are always here in spirit. And we think of them and we send our love to them. And I believe they send their love to us too. I mean, why did I wake up this morning thinking of my parents' best friend, Lisa? I mean, I don't do that every day. And then I was really thinking like, oh, I should call her. When in my day can I call her? And I was just trying to think of a window that would be good for me and for her, because she lives in Ohio, because the time difference. And then she calls me. And I hadn't talked to her in a year. The last time I talked to her was just before Christmas last year. So I think that's spirit. I think it's our, you know, spiritual support team. It's the cosmic kind of communication. I know Chanel says it doesn't get any easier. I know it doesn't get easier, but I don't know what is it? It doesn't get easier, but it gets lighter. It's not as heavy, you know, those initial first days. Oh, you had a robin came to your bird table in your door. I believe it. Whenever I see hummingbirds, I think of my mom. I believe it. And, you know, I've had friends who think I'm a little crazy. But yeah, Anne says that's definitely spirit. It is, right? I mean, why are we supposed to feel like the crazy ones when we know that this is the truth, you know? And it might all be in my head, but if it is, then okay, I'm not hurting anybody believing it, you know? But I was in Vegas. I drove to Vegas, which is about 4 or 5 hours away from LA, because a friend of mine was going to be in Vegas. And so I drove up to meet her, and we were hanging out by the pool. And as we were hanging out, literally a hummingbird was all up in my business, just would not let me go, you know, and she was just like stunned, you know, but I just was like, it's mom. You know, she's saying, yeah, go to Vegas and hang out with your friend. You know, she was supportive. And my friend Tara was like, I've never seen a hummingbird do that to any. And I'm just like, it happens to me all the time. And it started happening right after my mom died. Never happened before that. So how do you explain that? Maybe next week we'll talk about signs our loved ones give us, or signs that we think our loved ones give us. And, P.S., I believe it all. I joke that as soon as my mom died and I started seeing all these weird things happen and feel these things, I now believe in everything, and I'm waiting for the mothership. Actually, there's my UFO right now. That's my ride. So I'm going to wrap up. Thank you guys for sharing your stories, which I really appreciate. And it always helps me to know that I'm not crazy and that you guys are, you know, getting through it and parenting and working. And, you know, that's the big thing, that's the big message. That's the big takeaway, is that we're just going to get through it. And we do. We don't know how. We're upright. We're bathed. We have eye makeup on. We're wearing bras, you know, small victories for people. Hi, Melanie. So Cindy, Melanie, Chanel, Kat, Candace, Anne, everybody, thanks for tuning in. A reminder, if you're in Los Angeles, Good to Go party, Saturday, January 20th, 5 to 7. Details are on the Facebook page. Also, Austin, Texas. Thanks for sending likes. I see all the thumbs up. In Austin, Texas, Good to Go will be there January 23rd to the 29th. So if you want to book a party, email me or post something on the Facebook page. Come and see me over on Instagram, which is at Good to Go Peace. Sometimes I post like goofy videos, and sometimes I cross post on Facebook, but then sometimes I don't. So I would love your participation. And if you know of anyone in Austin, tag them, let them know, or even kind of around Austin, although I'm not a big Texas person, so I don't know like what suburbs are around Austin. But if you live near Austin and you have a good to go party, I have advanced planning paperwork and will travel. All right, you guys, have a great rest of your week, and I will see you next week. And if you have any ideas for topics you want to talk about, any kind of griefy topics, let me know and we'll chat about them. All right, you guys, take care. Bye.